save our wild species, and provide a home.
In more ways than one, animals are really just like us. They can engage in the same activities that we do, and they're also prone to some pretty strange reactions from time to time. For most of us, coming into contact with an animal doesn't sound like a weird occurrence. You probably see them strolling around, eating, sleeping, doing something pretty ordinary. But what happens when an animal begins to act weird? And would you really believe it if someone told you that they had found a kangaroo in a bar? In this video, we'll be looking at some specific times when animals decide to get a little spooky. Join us for 30 weird animal moments in front of the camera. Number 30. The flying poop. We humans have developed a pretty effective system of defecating over the years. When Mother Nature calls, all you have to do is take a quick trip to the nearest toilet, sit on it, and then go number 2. But for animals, of course, it's not that easy. However, amongst the many animals, I don't think there's any that has a defecating system as weird as the penguin. You see, while most animals just crouch and poop any old where, penguins actually bend over and project their poop. Scientists explain that this mechanism is so that penguins' poop doesn't stain their nests. But considering the many penguins that live within colonies, I think it could create some pretty awkward moments like this one. I doubt that little guy is going to be happy about that. Number 29. 2 is a crowd. Hamsters are a pretty popular pet choice. They're cute as a button and don't cause any problems. However, did you know that hamsters are actually pretty fit animals? In fact, these little rodents can run for up to 5.5 miles every single day. For context, that's like climbing the entire expanse of Mount Everest without breaking a sweat. Talk about some premium endurance. Over the years, most hamster owners have put them on wheels to help them exercise and burn off that insane energy. And while the image of a hamster running on a wheel is pretty common, things can get rather strange when 2 hamsters decide to run on the same wheel together. Like these guys. Fortunately, though, the hamster was able to get himself unstuck and continue with his run. Number 28. Ready for the big screen. A few months ago, an elephant would go viral after becoming captured on television in the funniest way. Alvin Konda, a reporter in Kenya, would be working on a story about an orphaned elephant that had been rescued and placed in a wildlife preservation center. And what better way to do the story about elephants than to do it in front of the big guys? The problem was, however, that one of the elephants decided to get a TV feature of his own. Not content with just sniffing Alvin's head, the baby elephant then decided to get even more up close and personal with the reporter. It was a cute moment for sure, but I think that Alvin should have given the elephant the microphone because he clearly had something to say. Number 27. Away we go. Perhaps one of the biggest reasons to envy birds is their ability to fly. In a split second, a bird can decide to flap its wings and it's off into the air. But for George, it appeared that flying for so long had become pretty tiresome. So when he found the hood of this guy's car, he just decided to hitch a ride to his next destination.
George, I gotta get on Southport Avenue, man. Bro. I'm going, George! Jump! Dude! George, listen, man. Bro!
I can't.
It's pretty crazy when you think about it. Despite making a turn and increasing his speed, the guy just couldn't get George off of his hood. The poor guy must have been really stressed out from all of that flying. Number 26. Doing it for the gram. You know, experts say that monkeys are just as smart as humans, if not smarter. And while everyone's debating whether or not that's true, I think it's safe to say that this little ape is definitely onto something. A viral video from a few years ago shows an interesting moment where this monkey took a phone and was literally browsing through Instagram.
Checking out what your buddy Tarzan's doing?
The little guy even checked out some monkey-themed content as well, because you know it's always great to stay connected to your roots and all. So the next time that you get a like on the gram, it may well in fact be from a monkey. Number 25. You're my mother now. Koalas are known to develop pretty strong connections with their children, and as you would expect, these baby koalas also depend significantly upon their mothers for comfort and care. But in what could only be described as a moment of mistaken identity, this koala appeared to have confused a dog to be its mother. According to the person who took the video in 2019, she had heard her little dog Tony barking early in the morning, so that's when she went out to investigate and saw that a koala had literally latched itself onto the dog's body and would not let go. As much as Tony tried, the little guy just stuck like Gorilla Glue. Apparently, the koala thought that Tony was his mother and just hung on for a big old hug. I might have adoption papers ready myself. Number 24. A weird snack choice. According to scientists, deer are primarily herbivores. They love to eat grass and hedges and fruits and leaves of plants. But can a scientist please step forward to explain what on earth is going on here? In January of 2023, a man in South Korea was looking to use the public restroom when he would be shocked to find a deer eating some toilet paper. And if you don't believe me, well, then just have a look at this. It looks like someone was looking to get a change of diet for once. We've all been there, right? Number 23. A quick stop at the shop. If you ever thought that humans were the only ones that shopping malls and boutiques were made for, well, you've got another thing coming. This video, which was taken a few years back, shows a moment when a wild boar would be spotted at a Malaysian department store. The boar appeared to have been shopping the sneakers section and was now checking out some streetwear. Watch out for this little guy the next time that you go to Fashion Week. Number 22. Scared of the rock. Pandas are pretty scary animals, but who would have thought that an inanimate object could give one of them the absolute creeps? Back in 2017, a red panda that lived in a zoo would be captured as it comes out of its compartment and was completely startled by nothing other than a rock. Even though it had probably seen the rock several times, the panda was startled and fascinated by the rock for some reason, and it just wouldn't let go of that feeling. The guy finally decided he'd had enough and just went back home, and that's when the party was over. Number 21. Do as I do. When you see someone who looks like you engaging in an activity, there's a high chance that you would be interested in doing the same thing. Just like in the instance of this parrot. Apparently, the parrot had seen a wind-up toy, which also looked a lot like a bird, and probably thought that it was one of his long-lost cousins or something. So when the toy started bobbing its head, the parrot just followed suit. Number 20. The wrong type of meat. With their long and weirdly shaped beaks, pelicans are amongst the most peculiar animals in the world. Their mouths essentially make it difficult for them to eat what most other animals do, but that doesn't mean they won't try from time to time. Take this guy for instance. While a tourist was feeding him, he literally tried to bite her. The only thing was that his beak's configuration just made it hilariously futile as an attempt. Even worse, the pelican moved from her hand to her face and then tried to bite it off. Well, points for trying, I suppose. Number 19. An unexpected guest. How would you feel if an animal suddenly decided to just roam into your house unannounced? Startled? Alarmed, perhaps? Well, this woman's reaction was definitely not what anyone expected.
Hello. Hi, baby boy. Don't get back here. Don't get back here. Do not get back here. Don't get back here. Thank you. Thank you.
After getting a lay of the land and surveying the living room, the traveling bison simply just walked out. He couldn't even stay for lunch? How rude is that? Number 18. A smooch or two. Okay, so let's take a break from the terrifying or strange to have a moment that's just so incredibly cute. We all know that dolphins are adorable creatures. Just check out this weirdly heartwarming moment when a dolphin and his trainers share a couple of smooches at SeaWorld. I can only imagine how much that guy's neck would ache for a few hours. But you know what? In the end, it was probably totally worth it. Number 17. A wild ride. It's no secret that squirrels can be suckers for nuts. However, this relatively greedy rodent decided to take his desire for nuts just a little too far. In this clip that was taken a few years ago, a squirrel would be looking to get a few nuts from a bird feeder. Even though the feeder was suspended, the daring rodent decided to make his attempts nonetheless, and, well, that just didn't go quite as planned. So maybe just stick to the nuts that you can find on the ground, although if you do look closely, the squirrel did actually manage to shake a few nuts, and I guess he didn't lose entirely. Nonetheless, watching his attempt sure is entertaining. Number 16. Aching for a cold one. You've already seen a wild boar entering a supermarket, but what about a kangaroo entering a pub? This viral video taken a few years ago shows the moment that a kangaroo suddenly entered a watering hole in Australia. The kangaroo simply hopped in, took a quick tour of the facilities, and then hopped right back out. And what's even more weird is that no one made a fuss about it. They all went about their day like nothing strange had occurred. Considering that kangaroos are pretty popular in Australia, this wouldn't be much of a surprise, and it looks like the little hopping fella just wanted a quick cold one. Number 15. A froggy scream. Frogs are generally known for being relatively calm animals that don't really hurt anyone. However, did you know that they can actually scream? To be fair, not many actually know that frogs can scream, and it gets even more weird, as in the case of this frog, which appeared to be pretty displeased when it was touched. Now, I'm not sure what got him so worked up in the end. I mean, it's not like he was hurt or anything, but some guys really just like to make a fuss over even the smallest of things. But at least now we know that frogs can scream, and even more importantly, we know just how a screaming frog sounds. Number 14. The pants fail. You know that feeling when you're in a rush in the morning and you put your leg in the wrong part of your pants? Well, it appears that we humans are not the only ones who deal with that. A few years ago, footage of a monkey at a local zoo would go viral after it was seen wearing pants, and it's as weird as it is hilarious. I'm pretty impressed by the monkey's coordination, although I do have to ask, who on earth gave it pants in the first place? Still though, the fact that he was able to get the pants on and in the right position should be commended. Number 13. The world's smallest jewelry thieves. Now, we all know how valuable the jewelry can be. These shiny little things dazzle us with their glowing and blinging, and pretty much everyone loves to get a piece of jewelry with them so that they can show it off. It would appear, though, that humans are not the only ones who love jewelry. So do ants. In May of 2021, a viral video would appear on the internet showing a colony of ants trying to get away with a golden necklace. Just like they do when they're carrying large chunks of food, the ants work together, with each one taking a part of the necklace and then contributing to moving it from one place to the other. Now, I've got to say, the level of teamwork that they display is nothing short of impressive, but it's still pretty weird seeing them take a necklace. Did they think that they could just eat it or maybe even pawn it off at the jewelry store? Perhaps they're going to open up an international smuggling ring. Number 12. It's a goal. If you're an avid soccer player, then you know just how thrilling it is when your player scores a goal. That feeling of ecstasy that you get when your team finally hits the back of the net is almost indescribable, and that's why players are allowed to celebrate with themselves and their fans whenever a goal is scored. Well, here's the thing though, humans are not the only ones who are familiar with this feeling. A few years ago, someone captured a moment when a deer maneuvered a ball into an empty net and then proceeded to celebrate. They say that football is a global sport, but I never really thought that this also applied to animals. But hey, the beautiful game is for everyone to enjoy. Number 11. Checking out the course. If you're ever at a golf course in Dubai, then you may just witness an orangutan driving a cart around like it's nobody's business. Early in 2022, a video went viral on the internet that showed an orangutan sitting in a golf cart and navigating it perfectly. The skilled ape's name is Rambo, and the clip was actually recorded at an animal exhibition center that was owned by one of Dubai's prominent citizens. Not much is known about Rambo otherwise, but he was reportedly taken to the facility after being rescued out of captivity. It looks like he was enjoying himself pretty well. And who knows, maybe he and his friends could be the Uber drivers of tomorrow because he sure seems to have the skills behind the wheel. Number 10. A jumpy situation. When we humans get into a disagreement, it's not uncommon for those disagreements to devolve into an all-out brawl. In the animal kingdom, the same rules apply most of the time. Take these kangaroos, for example. A few years ago, a viral video caught two kangaroos having a go at each other.
Kangaroos fighting at the pub.
Now, I'm not quite sure what caused the confrontation, although they appeared to have been fighting at the pub, so it's not out of the question to think that these might just be two drunk roos having a little liquor-infused altercation. It's also pretty interesting to see how they bide their time before landing the kicks. I sure hope that they were able to work out their differences, though. Number 9. The dog with hops. If you ever find yourself in a bit of traffic congestion, conventional wisdom dictates that you take it easy and hold on for things to clear up. But for this dog, it appears that the word wait has lost all of its meaning. I think we can all relate to this one. Everyone knows how frustrating it can be waiting for traffic to clear, especially when it's rush hour and you're trying to get to work. Still though, I doubt that this solution would work in the human world. Trying to jump over people on the subway, and you're pretty much calling for a good beatdown. Number 8. A panda's fall. Television shows might depict pandas as being kung fu masters and all of that, when in real life they're actually not so bright. In fact, some experts would rank pandas amongst the most dumb animals in the entire world. Now, that may seem a little too harsh, especially when you consider just how innocent that these animals can look, but when you see videos like this one, it's hard to think that the experts are wrong. Back in 2016, CCTV footage would show the moment when a panda took a pretty hard fall after climbing up a tree in search of food. Now, the fact that the panda itself fell was a pretty huge deal, but it didn't stop there. Instead of helping him up, other pandas just came along and simply stole the food that he had gotten down. Talk about having a rough day. Number 7. Mixed signals. Dogs can be hyper-aggressive animals, and as many of you will know, they might not always be able to control their urges. In this next clip, we see the moment where a dog owner practices a handstand in her garden while her dog watches on. Sadly for her though, the handstand did not work out, and she had to quickly get her composure back. While she was in the midst of this, it appeared that the dog saw her bending over and took that as an invitation for something a bit more, well, different. It wasn't the right call. No, not the right call at all. Number 6. A milky escape. Cows are famous for their ability to create milk, as well as their protective nature of their children. But did you know that they have incredibly long tongues? Well, file this one under the category of things you only found out when you were today years old. Cows have long tongues, and even worse, they're actually quite good at using them. Take the next video for example. This cow literally used its tongue to open a gate, although it surely was not an easy task. It's a good thing that cows aren't being put in prison, because I doubt these structures would be able to hold them. Also, props to that cow for putting in the effort. Number 5. Time to square up. Aggression in animals is always fun to watch, especially when the animal is just so small or incapable of actually handling the smoke they call for. Take this turtle for example. In this clip, the little guy walked up to a man's leg and for some reason decided to bump it over and over and over again.
Did you see him chase me?
I'm not really sure if that turtle had some sort of anger issues or if it just hated the color black. Perhaps it could have been that the little guy just had an itch in its head and needed to get some help scratching it. Either way, it's definitely a top ranker on the weirdness scale. Number 4. A moose on the loose. Now, we're all pretty familiar with how careful that a person needs to be if they're walking on ice, but it appears that even animals that dare to test the ice can find it to be pretty ruthless. In our next clip, which originates from Canada, a family saw that there was a moose on their front porch. That moose decided to test the ice and the strength of his hooves, and let's just say that things did not end very well for him.
Oh, what a sin. Oh, what a sin, Jamie.
Fortunately, that moose was not injured in the scenario, and he was able to quickly get on his feet and go on about his merry way. Mother Nature remains undefeated. Number 3. A catty escape. Generally, cats are pretty organized animals. Owners love them for being clean and well put together, and they tend to keep to themselves and not bother anyone. However, while these animals are pretty smart, there's a sense that they may not be as slick as we think they are. Just take a look at this clip of a cat trying to maneuver a gap in the wall as it escapes with some food in its mouth.
Здесь, не судьба тебе.
The furry rascal eventually dropped his food and entered the hole, only to come back out and fail miserably in another attempt.
Давай, мужик, не робей.
The poor little guy, he seemed to be having a rough day at the office, if I do say so myself. Number 2. Hippity hop. One of the many reasons why deer are so popular is their ability to hop. Using their incredibly powerful hind feet, these animals can jump up to 10 feet in the air, something which, for most humans, is absolutely impossible. However, with great power comes great responsibility, and for this particular deer, it appears that there's still a bit of a learning curve when it comes to hopping. I'm not necessarily sure what the deer was running from or why he thought that he could just hop over that fence, but I think that he may need a little bit more practice and tutoring. Number 1. An unquenchable thirst. Word on the street is that cats are lazy and only like you if you do everything for them. Well, it looks like this little guy is redefining that perception significantly. Back in August of 2020, footage would emerge out of South China showing a cat doing the most to shake his thirst. Instead of calling on their owner to help get some water, he simply chooses to go to a dispenser directly. The cat is pretty crafty with his actions, walking up to the dispenser, standing there, and then pressing the lid to get the water to come out. And when he was finished, he simply walked away. Now I'll give this guy top marks for effort. Thank goodness he didn't hit the hot water faucet though. Animals are truly amazing creatures, but like we humans, their propensity for weird moments is equally as high. But what did you think? Have you ever seen your pets or perhaps another animal do something weird? Let us know all about it in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time.